My name is Benny Bhali. I'm the Managing Director of Project Partners, as well as the interim chairperson for the Western Cape Maritime Cluster. Project Partners, we specialize in capacity building, training, as well as enterprise development. And the Western Cape Maritime Cluster is an umbrella body that was formed to assist the industry when it comes to building the capacity within the industry in the Western Cape and assisting businesses within the Western Cape to be able to do business and also to do regional promotion to attract more business in the area to assist the growth of the maritime economy, and as well as assisting when it comes to setting up an industry-wide research and development hub that will assist us in order for us to gather information that we'll be able to use to generate more business ideas, and also how we can build the maritime economy in the Western Cape moving forward. And also when it comes to maritime education, we work with a number of high schools within the Western Cape that we assist them when it comes to helping the students to get access to the maritime industry by giving them exposure of the industry, and also talk about the careers that are available in order for them to be able to build their own careers moving forward. And also this assists them when it comes to career choices as they progress in their studies, to have maritime as one of the options that is available for them to choose. Because there is one thing that it's not known to a number of South Africans, especially those who are geographically separated away or situated away from the coast and the ocean, that they get excluded in the maritime opportunities and maritime economy. And also when it comes to the information that is available, they don't have access to it. So what we do, we bring the information to them, and also we assist in terms of how do they get involved, and the issues of maritime transformation as well, because we can talk about maritime transformation, but if we don't have people who are interested in the maritime industry due to lack of knowledge and understanding that what is this maritime, and then we struggle in the maritime to transform the industry. Hence, we have a lot of information sharing sessions. We have a lot of workshops where we talk to young people about maritime careers, about the education that is required for them, and also the entrepreneurs that are available nationwide. We also have workshops for them to assist them to be able to understand what business opportunities that are available within the maritime space. And by so doing, we are working in conjunction with government and training institutions, because it's important that not to address only one element. We need to look at the education side of things, that are we producing the right skills that is required in the maritime industry, and also look at the opportunities in terms of employment, that are we training the right people for employment, because there's no point producing skills and training young people and then they can't be employed by the industry. So hence now we've got a triple helix model that we are applying, where it's government, training institutions, as well as the private companies that are members of the Western Cape Maritime Cluster that come on board, and they assist when it comes to offering training opportunities like practical trainings for TVET colleges students, and also they absorb some of those young people. And looking at the maritime on its own, the maritime, the word itself, the maritime, it's derived from Latin, which means of the sea. And when we define the maritime industry, we need to look at all the associated elements around the maritime, which is our oceans, our coastal regions, as well as inland waters, the channels, the rivers. And we can't also speak about all the waterways without discussing the utilization of those waterways. So shipping becomes part of the big part when it comes to defining the maritime, because the movement of cargo and people from point A to point B is part of the bigger maritime scheme. And also all the associated supporting services like the ports operations, the maritime logistics, and maritime law, maritime economics. There's other things that are part of maritime. It's not just about shipping. It's all the support that supports the business of shipping, that it's part of defining the big maritime industry. and the difference between the maritime and marine, because some people they confuse the two terms. Marine is associated with the sea itself and its creatures, that's marine, and maritime it's everything else that is involved. For me, because I come from Davidton in Benoni, it's a township in Benoni, and how I got involved in the maritime space, I was lucky enough that I was in a technical high school, and we had career guidance at school, where now we had some recruiters from the South African Defence Force and other companies as well who came to the school and started presenting different opportunities to us. And for some reason, they've mentioned the South African Navy to me. And I didn't even know that we had the South African Navy, or the South Africa as a Navy. I knew about the Navy from the movies and stuff, but now knowing that we actually have a Navy and I can be part of it, so that excited me. Then after the whole demonstrations and their presentations, I went to this gentleman and I asked them that, how do I get involved with the South African Navy? And they gave me their application forms and I followed the whole process. And then I was invited for interview and I went and I made it. Then that's how I got involved in maritime through the South African Navy. In the South African Navy, I was a lieutenant commander when I left the Navy. And also in the Navy, I was exposed to other opportunities that were involved, where I had an opportunity to go stay in Germany through a project that I was part of as one of the project engineers. We're building the South African Navy submarines. And I was exposed to a number of other opportunities there in the Navy. And when I came back from the project and I was appointed on board the vessel, where I was the weapons engineering officer on one of the new frigates. So I got to sail with the vessels as well. And after 2 years, and I left the vessel and then I went ashore, where I was the systems manager for the maintenance and support of the vessels. So I was exposed to the vessel throughout its supply chain, you know, from building it, repairing it, and also supporting it as well. Because when we build ships to last us for at least 20 to 30 years. And so there must be a logistic support around it. That also is a huge opportunity to build a career for any engineers there. Through my close to 20 years experience in the maritime industry, I've learned that there's a challenge when it comes to transformation. You know, it's the transformation challenges that the maritime has. It's mostly because of most black people in the maritime space. When they come in the industry, they come in at a low level and then they work their way up. But they never get too far. They get stuck as foremen, as project managers. And it's only very few, you know, that actually make it to maybe becoming a managing director or maybe a sales executive or something higher than that. So also I've realized that when I was working for a Dutch company where I was the sales and marketing executive for them, I was selling ships all over Africa, especially in the southern part of Africa. And I realized that there was not a lot of black people doing what I was doing. And I realized that, but this is something that anyone can do. You know, just need to understand the industry and your products and also love selling. Then by so doing, then you should be getting opportunities to do that. But again, those big companies are not South African companies. So it's a challenge now when it comes to enforcing certain rules on them that they need to absorb South African black people that are not really interested, you know, and also they need to train them, and it becomes a nightmare for them because they're not in the business of training anyone. They're in the business of building and selling ships, for an example. And then now you introduce this new element and that does not add value when it comes to their value proposition that they are providing. So government needs to come on board as well. I know that there have been a lot of initiatives that has taken place over the years, especially while I was in the maritime industry, where we discuss a number of things. And also, as you will know, that most government procurement requirement is that any procurement above a certain threshold, a certain percentage needs to be spent on developing or on black companies. And that is all well and said and done, but the challenge is, where are those companies? Do they know that there's maritime opportunities that exist? You see, I think we need to do a lot of workshops where we introduce this whole thing when it comes to enterprise development to assist the transformation of the industry. There's an organization that was formed, that was part of its formation, a South African Maritime Business Forum. I know that one of its mandate was to address exactly that, and I think with proper support and over time, it will achieve that. And when it comes to the maritime cluster, the maritime clusters, they work differently from other organizations because we're focusing more on manufacturing and also on collaboration between different businesses. So we're bringing in a new element or dynamic when it comes to doing business, that instead of competing for business, why can't companies collaborate? Because when they collaborate, they are able now to tackle bigger projects, not just in South Africa, where in South Africa they will be fighting for a small pie. But if they can look at the international market, because maritime industry is an international market, nothing is stopping any company from doing a project in Angola, doing a project in Mozambique, in Nigeria, in Ghana. We are currently doing projects, some of these projects out of South Africa. So it shows that there is opportunities that are available. So it shouldn't be a challenge that when you come into South African, in the South African maritime market, then you just look at that small portion of the bigger market, which is international, and make a decision that the market is not big enough, because of that will prevent you from accessing other opportunities that are presented, especially when you collaborate with other companies locally that have access to international markets. When we look at the career opportunities in the maritime space, we've got three streams that one can follow. We've got onshore maritime, we've got onboard the vessels, and also offshore, which is the oil and gas market. So for the guys in TVET colleges and universities, the engineering type, if they want to get into the maritime space, they can either work onshore, in shipyards, in workshops that are supporting the maintenance, support and repair of vessels, or they can decide to work on board the vessels, where now they can be repair technicians, artisans, or engineers on board vessels, and have an opportunity again to travel with the vessels to other countries and see the world. And the offshore market also, there's a number of opportunities that exist there, where now we've got technicians or artisans that can work on board the oil rigs and service the oil rig while it's drilling out at sea. Those are another opening there where now they earn big bucks. So there's an opportunity that somebody can look into. Hospitality industry is very big in the maritime space because it offers opportunities for young people who want to get on board the vessels and service the ships when they're sailing, especially the cruise liners, as well as the super yachts. Things like stewards, chefs, hairdressers, DJs, you name them. You know, there's a lot of them that are getting opportunities on board cruise liners. For you to qualify to work on board a ship, you need to do a short course or short program, that is called a CSW program, where now you want to look at different ways of working on board a vessel when it comes to issues of safety. Like you do onboard firefighting courses, you do sea survival, how to abandon ship should the worst happens. You need to learn how to swim. It makes sense that you are in the maritime working on board a ship, that you must know how to swim. Those are some of the basics that you will learn, as well as the security on board vessels. And then once you do that short course, and you've got your current functional training, maybe you're a qualified chef, you know, or you're a qualified hairdresser, then you just add that CSW program in addition to that, and then you're eligible to be employed on board a vessel and sail with either the cruise liners or the super yachts industry. The CSW program is actually a requirement by IMO that if you want to work on board any ship and SOLAS as well, that you need to be qualified, CSW qualified. And so you do that training in a number of schools, maritime schools that are available. And in South Africa, it's governed by SAMSA, which is an organization that governs all that training, the quality of the training, and as well as SAIMI. And then for young people who are at school, it's either you are in tertiary, you are in TVET colleges, you are still in high school, the opportunities are there. Hence now we've got the Western Cape Maritime Cluster, where now we go to those schools and present those opportunities to them. What needs to happen, because if we're not doing it now at a bigger scale, and that is the challenge that we have, where we need now to do it at a bigger scale, where now we've got official career days where we have somebody from the maritime industry that will come and represent in the maritime industry and present to the students so that they are aware of what is this maritime thing and how do I get involved, what are the requirements, what are the subjects that I need to take. Because every time when we have these students that we are hosting, we always have training institutions. You have CPUT, we have Stellenbosch University, we have all the other maritime training schools that are part of the whole thing, because they need to talk to the educational and training side of things. And then we've got the private companies that we speak about what type of caliber of individual do we absorb in our companies and what are the requirements, so that when the students finish studying, then they know exactly that I want to work for that company and they're looking for A, B, C, and for me to get that I need to go to this training institution and I need to study whatever course that is required, and from there then approach the potential employer. So that is the whole point for our workshops for career guidance. Currently, there are a number of programs that are running. We are also in partnership with the Royal Yacht Club, where they're teaching young people how to sail, you know, and which is something that is very commendable, because most of the young people that needs to learn how to sail, they will never have access to a sailing vessel, also know what is sailing, whether can I build a career in sailing. You see, these things like that that people don't know, and we need to bring it on board. And then when it comes to the capacity building element that I spoke of, Project Partners is currently working in conjunction with other TVET colleges nationwide, as well as government organizations like SAIMI, and also other training partners within the maritime industry, that we need to assist government in ensuring that the maritime opportunities are accessible and available to every individual in South Africa. Because it is very unfair that we call South Africa a maritime nation, but we have individuals that are situated in Limpopo, for an example, Mpumalanga, in Gauteng, who have an interest in maritime, but they can't access maritime. Because for them to move from home to come stay in a coastal region like KwaZulu-Natal, in Durban, or in Cape Town, for an example, it's going to cost them a lot of money, you know, in terms of accommodation and the actual education that they need to pay for. But now if we bring maritime closer to them, then they can access the maritime industry closer to home. Because as we know that most of black people, they come from impoverished backgrounds and communities. So we cannot expect now that if they want maritime, they must just relocate. You see, not everyone can afford to do that. And most of the individuals that are trained in the maritime, funny enough, they come from inland. So that tells you exactly that if we've got so many people from inland who are working in the maritime space, it makes sense that we need to go inland and make sure that maritime is accessible to them. Although Mr. Panyaza Lusufi has launched one maritime high school in, I think in the Val, which is an excellent exercise, but now we need to see a lot of those things happening, that at least every province must have a school of specialization and maritime, because once we do that, then we are able to attract a bigger group of young people throughout the nation, that they also have access to maritime, because it's not that only the individuals who are living within the coastal regions are interested in maritime, that it's only them who can be employed in the maritime. It makes no sense, you see. So we need to bring the maritime closer to the people. That's what we are currently doing. And we are going to be launching the first 2 inland maritime TVET colleges, and with the aim that we need to at least have 1 TVET colleges per province, at least minimum, that offers the maritime training. And also because we are working in conjunction and in partnership with the future employers for those young people. So we're not just going to assist the TVET colleges to train these young people, but also we're going to assist these young people to get employed and absorbed in the maritime industry. Project Partners' future plans is We want to focus on growing the maritime capacity building in the African continent, because we've got inquiries from other African countries that also would like to have such a service, where now we assist them to set up this whole model of making sure that the maritime opportunities are accessible to their people in those countries, as well as that the maritime training quality is at the right level, and also to help them generate business opportunities when it comes to regional promotion, because running a maritime industry is like running any other business. You know, you need to market your country. Like in South Africa, we are competing with other countries when it comes to ports. You know, if our ports are not efficient, ship owners are not going to come to our ports. They'll go to the alternative choices. We know there's a big project happening in Mozambique on their ports expansion plans. In Namibia as well, they're expanding their ports. So now, immediately you can see that these are just two neighbors that they're already putting in money in terms of now expanding their port operation, making their ports to be more efficient. So even for us in South Africa, we need to also focus on the same projects. Although yes, there are projects that are happening. That is one part. Infrastructure development is one thing. Excuse me. Infrastructure development is one thing, and now you need the human capital that is well-trained, well-experienced, that understands the industry very well, that are able now to provide the services that need to be provided in those ports, as well as ambassadors for the country, you know, for the industry, that are able to go out there and speak to these potential clients, which is the ships owners, the agents that come to our ports, come to our region. We've got these services, we've got this to offer you. You know, our pricing must be right, because now there's no point having the best state-of-the-art infrastructures, but you're just too expensive, and then you're not competitive, because now we're looking at the port fees in Namibia is cheaper than in South Africa, you know. So immediately now, once they can get the infrastructure right and get themselves ready now to compete with us, we might struggle. So hence also I know that there have been talks with TNPA and other companies that are renting in the harbor here, that we need to find a way of reducing the rental costs in the harbor, I mean in the port, because it just doesn't make business sense in terms of now attracting more business into the region. So those are the things that we are currently doing, discussing or engaging with government level and other private companies in the industry, that what can we do to find models that works together, and also what can we do as businesses to collaborate so that we are able to generate more business. And the same things that we are doing in South Africa, other countries in Africa are exactly thinking about the same thing. They are doing exactly the same thing. So now it's a race against time, that who will get their acts together sooner than the other, because once you do that, then you'll be able to set yourself up as the first preference or first choice when it comes to business and ships. Project partners, as the company name is, Project Partners. We partner with various stakeholders when it comes to creating a solution for a particular project. So like when it comes to capacity building and training, we are working very close with STC, SA, where now they are helping us when it comes to bringing in the expertise, the experience and their resources to partner with those TVET colleges and help them to set up the training. And also we partner with Samsung and Saimi when it comes to realizing that, okay, what type of training that needs to be done in those TVET colleges when it comes to maritime, where now they assist us as their authorities that, okay, you need to focus on this type of training and not that training. So now we have information sharing sessions with them. And when it comes to financing as well, we work a lot with financing institutions like TITA and NSF as well, who have been helping a lot when it comes to maritime training. So there's a number of partners that are involved when it comes to coming up with a solution that will best suit the beneficiary, which is the young people of South Africa, to get maritime opportunities and that they are employable. Hence, the formation of Maritime Clusters was inspired by what Maritime Clusters have achieved in other countries like in Europe and in the US and everywhere else internationally. So the eThekwini Maritime Cluster has been doing very well. It's the oldest cluster in South Africa. And we've got the Buffalo City in the Eastern Cape Maritime Cluster, and I think there's 2 clusters in the Eastern Cape. And now we've got the Western Cape Maritime Cluster, which is the new baby. But now we are in talks to set up a South African Maritime Cluster, where now we can look at experiences and expertise that we have in different provinces to try and assist our government when it comes to setting up a proper maritime manufacturing body that is able to do all the things that I've mentioned, that you need the regional promotion, you need proper skills, you need proper training, you need to be sure that the companies that are involved in either manufacturing of a vessel, building a vessel or an engine or whatever parts of the vessel, that they understand the collaboration concept, how it works. That if one vessel does the crankshaft, the other one will do the bolts, the other one will do something else. And then all of them coming together, they're building an engine. So everyone's got a piece of the pie, and also it forces them to work together and make sure that they each focus on one thing that is quality, that when we now sell this one engine to a client in Europe or somewhere in Africa, and then it's of good quality. So that thinking, it's still not there yet, but it's something that we are trying to instill in a number of manufacturing companies, because they hardly work like that. You find one company doing everything, you see, and then we have another company B sets up next to this one and competes and do exactly the same thing. So by so doing, you are competing over a small pie, and both of you will end up going hungry. But if you work together, then you support the development of this one system that you can sell, you know, and then that changes the whole ball game, and that it solves our problem of unemployment. It solves the problem of poverty eradication. So it's important to get into this thinking of collaboration and clustering, working in clustering, because in the automobile industry, they've been working in as clusters, and it's doing very well. It's only the maritime space in South Africa where now we are trying to mimic models that works internationally that we can do.